Project number 5 in our Folding Frenzy series is the tissue paper flower. That's 5 layers of tissue paper, and it's held together by a pipe cleaner on the bottom. What I do is I take a standard piece of tissue paper, fold it, and quarter it, and so a standard piece will give you 4 pieces this size. The method I'm using is going to work on any size. You just need to use more pieces of paper if you get it bigger. But this is the perfect size for the classroom. I'm going to do it in contrasting layers so that you can clearly see what I'm doing. But I usually coordinate my colors a little bit better than this. As you can see, the size is not exact. That's okay. In this particular project, that precision is not so necessary. It's going to be slightly longer than it is wide. Again, proportions are not so important in this. If you have a lot longer than wide, it's going to make a fluffier flower. In this particular case, when I quartered this tissue paper, these are the dimensions that it came out, more square than I usually use. Working from the short end, you're going to fan fold. It can be a little tricky to get all 5 layers in that first handful, so you may have to help the students a little bit to get started. But once they start, they're going to fan fold all the way up. And as with the other project, folding it smoothly, pressing it down, is going to make it turn out much better. You want to work with about 3/4 to an inch on the fold. And when I'm done with this one, I'll show you some of the mistakes that students will make, and making their folds too big is one of them. Fan fold all the way up, fold it to find the middle. Right about there will do. The color that's on the top is going to be the color that's in the middle of the flower. I'm going to bend it over and twist it tight. The tighter it is, I like to even pull on a little bit, the tighter it is, the better it's going to hold together. But I don't normally spread these out, but to get it so that you can see it on the camera better, I'm going to spread those out a little bit. But normally you would hold it in your hand. I'm going to spread both sides of the fan out. At this point, you just have like a big bow tie. To make it into a flower, you need to carefully take the top layer and pull it all the way up. Now, I emphasize going all the way up because a lot of times students will not want to go all the way up, and they won't want to get these edges here. But I'll show you what happens when they do that. And then you're going to go to the second layer, side to side. Going side to side is going to make it come out much better than doing one side first and then the other, because you want to get some overlap here. Of course, it's a little tricky to pull hard enough to get it completely separated, but not so hard that you're ripping it. And a little fluffing and forming, and there you have your flower. Now, because this is your first one, I left out a step. You can see that this one I just left flat when I folded it. Whereas my other demonstration, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of crinkle cut along the edges. For my next one, I'll show you how to do that one. Okay, I'm ready for my next one. I've got my 5 layers here. I'm going to show you a few mistakes. The first mistake students will make is folding too big. It will still work if you fold this big, but it won't be so frilly and fluffy. So I'm going to start again and do it a little bit smaller. Again, the uneven edges are not really a problem here because we are going for something that looks, more natural. Some of our other projects required more precision. So this one I made a little bit wider than the other, but it's still not too wide. Find the middle. This is another mistake students make, is they want to keep wrapping it around. This is not really holding it tight at all. So you can see that this slides right off. The important thing is not wrapping it around the paper. The important thing is wrapping it around the two wires. And I even like to pull, see how I'm pulling a little bit. Sometimes that can be hard for smaller hands. Pulling a little bit to really scrunch that middle down. You can also do this not with a wire, but use a ribbon or a string. And sometimes, if I'm making them for myself, I'll even cut little notches there to get a really tight center. But there's too much danger with putting that little notch in there with the kids that they might cut all the way through. So I just try to have them pull it tight. Now the part I left off before is the trimming the edge before you poof. The first example I made, I had trimmed off the end in a semicircle, and that makes these little scalloped edges. The second one I made, I didn't do anything. I just left it flat here, and that gives a straight edge all the way around. For this one, I'm going to cut a triangle, and you want that triangle to be angled in towards the top because you want the shorter pieces on the front and the longer pieces on the back. I demonstrate this the first time for the students, and then I have them cut their own after that. Yeah, I'm going to get that wire out of my way just to hold it flat, but normally I would leave it long. I'm going to open up both sides of the fan. Now I'm going to show you the most common student mistake. When I puff, I am not going to do a thorough job. I'm just going to do it I'm going to concentrate my puffing in the middle of each side. Consequently, my flower has come out looking more like a taco than it has a flower. But this is easily remedied. You have to make sure that they're doing the corners as well as the sides. You want to make sure you're pulling it all the way up. When I'm teaching this, I spend the whole class saying, all the way up. You can even open it up a little bit in the middle if you want to be able to see that wire as an accent. So this one has the pointy edges contrasted with the rounded edges and then the straight edges. These are especially nice if you make at least 3 bunches and put them all together. Hard for me to get it far enough down. My camera is too close. But my students also like to put them in their hair. This is one of the most popular ones we do. I'm going to do one more for you to show you the other common mistake and to show you a different color combination. Remember, we're doing the fan fold, and the fan fold should look like a zigzag. But you often get students who forget or get confused, and they bring you something that's all rolled up like this, and then they can't fan it out because it's rolled up. So you want to say we need to fold, not roll. So you can check on the edge. If you're getting that zigzag, you're doing it right. If you're not getting the zigzag, you need to back it up. Remember to fold that up tight when you roll it. I think for this one, I'm going to do the rounded edge. Open it up. I like to make a little loop with my fingers. That will help get that forward poof. See, I still don't like this split here. It's giving me that taco look. Little finger adjustment makes that much better. Be sure to take a look at the master video for the entire Folding Frenzy unit, as well as paper snakes, fans, spinners, shapes. I'm not going to do a separate video on origami because there's so many origami videos out there already, but I am going to give you a couple bonus videos for folding projects that can be standalone lessons. Remember, I'm putting my entire curriculum online, so like, subscribe, comment. Any interaction that you have with the video is going to increase the chances of it showing up in your feed again. And then you'll be able to get ideas for my entire K through 5 curriculum. I'm Heidi Howe, and I'm in a folding frenzy.